Here is the ubiquitous cassette tape. There were hundreds of billions of these made and sold for the better part of half a century. And coincidentally or not, it's about the same size as an iPod Classic. And here's a typical handheld cassette tape recorder. And overall footprint, it's actually not that much bigger than the cassette tape in its case. It's about twice as thick. Now here is the microcassette, the smallest audio tape format to gain widespread use for dictation. It's about a quarter of the size of the regular cassette. And here is a typical handheld microcassette recorder. It's about half the size of the regular cassette tape recorder, but now it's twice the size of the tape. So the size reduction has not been proportional until we introduce the world's smallest microcassette recorder, the Olympus L400 Pearl Recorder, introduced in 1994, and it's only a little bit bigger than the microcassette itself. You paid a premium for that tiny size though. While the S924 had a retail price of $48.50 in 1994, the little L400 cost $176.80, over 3.5 times as much. But that was quite a discount off of its list price of $299, or about $620 in today's money. But for that premium price, you did get some premium features, such as auto reverse, soft touch full logic controls, a digital tape counter, and an optional wired remote control. It was also available in an executive set, including that wired remote control, an external microphone, an earphone, some adapters, and a designer Italian leather carrying case by Alviero Martini. Interestingly, the Procorder L400 seems to have been primarily designed to be operated in the left hand, because in your right hand you have to awkwardly reach for the controls of your thumb, while in the left hand they fall naturally to your fingertips. It runs on a single AAA battery, which is really quite amazing. There's the tiny built-in speaker on the back. It says Olympus Optical Company Limited, made in Japan, of course. And this is a metal case with curved edges on the top and bottom. And here's the button for opening the door. And you just pop in your microcassette. There is a little window through which you can see it. The main controls are recording, stop, play, and direction, because this is auto reverse. And fast forward and rewind. You press it once for rewind and you tap it twice for fast forward. There's the jack for the optional wired remote control, a switch to turn on and off auto reverse. VCVA is variable control voice activation. When you turn that on, it detects a pause in your speech and automatically stops recording to save tape. And then when somebody starts talking again, it'll automatically start recording again. There's the speed selector switch and jacks for the microphone and earphone. On this side is a switch for main and hold or remote. In that position, the onboard controls are disabled, but you can still use the optional wired remote control. Up here is the built-in microphone, a volume control, and the display with the digital tape counter and function indications. And I would definitely recommend switching it into the hold position when you're not using it, because as you might have noticed, there's no power switch. It just stays on in this standby mode all the time, and I've noticed it's quite sensitive to these buttons, so it's rather easy to accidentally press them when you're not meaning to. So that's why it's good to switch it to the hold position when you're not intending to use it. Thankfully, it is very energy efficient in this standby mode. I've had it sitting in standby for at least a month, and the battery is still good, so it doesn't run it down that much. This recorder features automatic level control, so normally when you're making a recording, the volume control has no effect. But when you have that voice activation feature engaged, The volume control controls the sensitivity of that feature, so that way you can adjust it so that it is not accidentally triggered by background noise. And one thing Olympus did with all their microcassette recorders, not just this really tiny one, is that instead of the common 3.5mm external microphone and earphone jacks, they used 2.5mm jacks, requiring special microphones and earphones, or you can get an adapter, and then that will let you use a more common one with these recorders. So here is the quick test of recording using the built-in microphone. As you can hear, when we play this back, the built-in speaker doesn't get very loud, and when you do turn it up, it gets quite distorted, but for just monitoring what you recorded, it's good enough.
So here is the quick test of recording using the built-in microphone. As you can hear, when we play this back, the built-in speaker doesn't get very loud, and when you do turn it up, it gets quite distorted, but for just monitoring what you recorded, it's good enough.
And this really was just meant to be a monitor speaker for the person using it, because the intention was when you were done recording, you wouldn't play it back on this unit. You would take it out and give the tape to your secretary, who would then play it in her transcriber machine using headphones. So with that in mind, I'll now give you a direct hookup sample of how it sounded making a recording using an external microphone. When you're ready for the microcassette recorder that can handle any business application, you're ready for the ultra-compact Pearlcorder L400. Feather Touch IC Logic controls and remote control capability make business as usual out of everything from dictating letters and memos to recording meetings, lectures, and conferences. As one of the world's smallest and lightest microcassette recorders, the Pearlcorder L400 is highly portable and can be taken virtually anywhere you want, fitting easily in your hand or comfortably in a shirt pocket. Like all microcassette recorders, this offers two speeds, 2.4 and 1.2 centimeters per second. For the best quality, you definitely want to stick with 2.4, but if you must have the longest recording time, you can switch to 1.2, although there was a quite drastic drop in the sound quality.
This is now recording at the slower 1.2 centimeter per second speed, which is 1/4 the speed of a regular cassette tape. It's still good enough for dictation, but the audio definitely loses quite a bit of clarity.
This tape was in the recorder when I got it, and it contains a brief test recording made at the slower 1.2 centimeter per second speed by what I presume to be the recorder's original owner. Unfortunately, while she was very emphatic about the current month and day, she never mentioned the year.
Today is October 5th. Today is October 5th. Today is October 5th. Today is October 5th.
There's a look at the mechanism inside. The internal frame is also made of metal, and these gear teeth on both reel sprockets makes me wonder if this might actually be direct drive, especially since it's still working perfectly after nearly 30 years, when you think if it contained belts they would have perished by now. It's difficult to get a good view of it because the door is in the way, but since this is an auto-reverse recorder, it actually has two heads. There you can see one of them. There's another one on the other side there, and the pin controller and capstan is actually in the middle between those two heads. The microcassette itself correspondingly has two pressure pads in it instead of the one in the middle of a regular cassette. And as you may already know, microcassettes go the opposite direction of a regular cassette, so it goes from right to left as that arrow indicates. So if I put it in the machine here and press play, there you can just about see the reels turning in that little window in the door. Here's a test of the auto reverse during recording. It's just about to encounter the end of the tape, and we'll see what happens when it reaches the end. There, it automatically switches sides, so I can continue recording with minimal interruption. As for the current status of the microcassette format, you can still get what are claimed to be new microcassette recorders and tapes, although I don't think they're actually still being manufactured. I think they're just selling off remaining stock at increasingly high prices. And the last of the line microcassette recorders are really quite cheap and plasticky and don't feel nearly as high quality as this one. So that's about it for this look at the Olympus Procorder L400. The world's smallest microcassette recorder from 1994, barely any larger than the tape itself. A marvel of engineering and miniaturization.